Hey guys, Carl from This Place. Recently I've been spending quite a bit of time in the Button Shy Discord servers, and just the other day I came across a prototype from designers Dustin Dobson and Milan Zivkovic. Some designers you might recognize from Button Shy's games Skulls of Sedlec and It Was This Big. Anyway, this game called R.O.V.E. is a really interesting spatial puzzle type game, and I found it very fascinating and I've been enjoying it quite a bit. So I wanted to show you how the game plays and just talk a little bit about why I've been enjoying this game. So with all that being said, meet me down at the table so I can show you how this game plays, and then I'll meet you back up here to talk a little bit more about why I enjoy this game. Before we get started, it's worth mentioning that everything you will be seeing is a print and play copy of a prototype version of this game that I have made myself. Should this game be published, and I really hope it is, it will probably look a bit different than what I'm playing with right now. That being said, let's go ahead and get ready to set up the game. To set up a game of R.O.V.E., you're going to begin by shuffling the 6 module cards and then laying them out in a 3x2 grid in the center of the play area. You will then shuffle these cards, which are mission cards on one side and movement cards on the other. And then from that deck, deal yourself 5 movement cards. And then place 1 mission card up here to get started and set the deck off to the side. The goal of R.O.V.E. is to use these movement cards to move these module cards around in such a way that they will match the shape shown on the mission card. And that shape will always have one square that is colored, meaning that specific color module must be located in that position. And all of the other spaces with a white square can be any of the module cards. In order to win the game, you're going to need to complete 7 of these mission cards. And if at any point you run out of movement cards, out of movement points, and don't have any special abilities left to use that can fix that situation, you've lost the game. So how do we move these around? Well, each of these modules is going to have a unique way that they move. So we'll go over them one by one, and we'll explain how the movement cards will then be used to trigger those movement abilities. The green module is called the motor, and the green module will move 1 space in any direction orthogonally, but it is special because it will push whatever card is next to it. So if this green module moves down in this situation, it would push the pink one or the red one down 1 space like this. The green module or the motor is the only one that will push other cards in this way. All other cards will move over the other cards. The blue module, called the coil, is actually going to jump over other modules, and it must jump over at least 1 module. And as soon as it hits an empty space, it will land. So for example, this coil in this situation could move down here. It could move diagonally across this pink one, or it could move left or right across these other modules, jumping over at least 1 card along the way. This orange module, known as the gripper, is going to move 1 space in any direction at all, up, down, left, right, or any of the 4 diagonals, but only 1 space. The others have unlimited movement, but they will move in different directions. The brain, which is this pink module down here, can move up, down, left, or right as many spaces as it wants to in 1 move. Now, in order to change direction, that will require it to take a second move action. But for each move action, it can move as far as it needs to in any direction, up, down, left, or right. The sensor module, which is this sort of blue-green or teal colored module, is similar to the brain except it can only move diagonally, but also will move as far as it needs to. And finally, this purple module, which is the laser, can move in any of the 8 different directions. It means up, down, left, or right, or any of the 4 diagonals, as far as it wants to move. But again, each direction will count as 1 move action. So all of these cards that will move more than 1 space are able to move over both empty spaces and other modules. However, there is one rule that must be kept in mind at all times. When a module is moving, it can never end up in a space where it is not adjacent to at least one other module. And adjacency in this case means both orthogonal and diagonal. So in this case, this blue coil module is adjacent to all of the other modules because orthogonally it's adjacent to these three and diagonally it's adjacent to these two. So that means you can never have a module that's sort of free floating off on its own somewhere. So you're going to be using these movement cards to generate movement points, and each movement point will allow you to take one move action with one module. And the way that these movement cards work is this. If we use the card, we can immediately use the top number. It means if I use this card, I can definitely generate 2 points of movement, meaning I can take 2 movement actions with any of my module cards. However, if at the time that I play this card, I'm able to have this shape in my tableau or in my player area, then I will, instead of using 2 movement points, be able to use 4 movement points. So oftentimes it is worth it to use, say, for example, 1 movement here to rearrange this in such a way that it matches on another card, and therefore I can use the larger value on the card. So we're going to continue discarding these cards, activating these movement actions, moving these modules around until again they meet the shape or match the shape in the top right corner of a mission card. And at that point, we're going to draw 1 more mission card, covering up this and creating a new mission that we need to match. And also, every time we complete a mission, we will take or draw 1 more movement card. Aside from that, in the normal rules, there are no other ways for us to ever get more of these cards except to complete more missions. That being said, each of the 6 modules also has a special action that's printed directly on the card. So let me explain those before we continue with the playthrough. The motor will allow you to shift any one module 1 space, and that means up, down, left, or right, or diagonal, not following their movement rules. It can move any card 1 space in any direction. The brain says position any module adjacent to the brain. So that means at any point I can flip this card over and I can move any other module to any space in the 8 spaces surrounding the brain. The coil says we can move any module for free. So this is basically just triggering 1 free movement action for any of the modules. The sensor card says draw 1 movement card. This is the only way that we can get another movement card aside from completing a mission. The laser says we can swap any 2 modules. And finally, the gripper says it will clone an adjacent module's ability. So we need to make sure this is next to something useful when we use this ability. And these abilities can be used at any time. It could be used in the middle of another movement card that you've used to generate points, but they can only be used once each. And when they're used, we're going to flip over the card and you will see on the card that it specifically says now that this cannot be used any longer. It has been activated and that is done. So again, that is basically the game. We're going to use these movement cards to generate points, to trigger actions, to move these around, to match these symbols. We need to complete 7 of these missions before we run out of these cards and before we run out of these abilities. And if we're able to do that, we've won the game. And if at any point we can't take any more movement and we haven't completed 7 missions, then we've lost the game. So with that being explained, if you have any questions, I hope that they will be answered as I play through the game. But let's go ahead and get started with the playthrough. So as you can see in this picture, I need to get the orange color, the gripper, up in the top left corner with 2 cards next to it, 2 cards below it, and 1 card sort of down at this angle. This is not the greatest way for me to start because it's up here in the top right corner and it only moves 1 space at a time. So I really need to be careful about how I do this. I do see if I put this here that I would then have the ability to have this 3 here be this 3 here. But the problem is this green one is going to be a pain because I'm going to have to get it all the way around to the other side. This might be where we use one of our special actions. If I can swap this purple one and this green one like this, then this green could move down one to become this bottom space. And then I would just need to figure out a way to get the purple one would go up and over, and the red one would also go up and over. So this would need to move twice, this would need to move twice, and this would need to move once. So I need 5 movement plus that ability to get everything done. Let's see what else we can do. Oh, well, we're in luck because this card, the 4 movement points, says I've got this with 1 above it and 1 to the right of it, which I already do. So let's swap first. I'm going to use this ability to swap the purple and the green. And then we've got this shape, which is what I need for this card. So I'm going to use this to generate 4 movement points. So this goes 1. This goes 2. This goes 3. And this goes 4. So I still need 2 movement points to get this. It will go up and over here. So how do I want to do that? I don't have any cards with 2 movement left. I don't want to use anything that has huge amounts. The 5s seem pretty powerful and not really what I want to see right now. Unfortunately, you know what? It's early, but it may not be a bad idea. I'm going to flip this one to activate move any module for free, moving this red one here. And then I will use... It's unlikely that I'm going to get the brain in a vertical column anytime soon, so I will use that one for 1 movement point. Actually, let me keep my discards up here. For 1 movement point, meaning I move the brain right there, and we've completed our shape. So our first mission is done. When we complete the mission, we draw our next mission and overlay it such a way that it covers the mission and it continues the story of our rover. And then again, as I said, we take the next card and add it to our movement cards. All right, so this time we need the purple in the bottom left corner. Now purple is good because it moves very well. But I don't like this diagonal where it is. I need a lot of stuff over there. If this is purple, then this one, no, I don't like that. This is a pain. I might have to use the brain to relocate this one. If this is purple and it comes here, and this one goes here, and this one jumps, I don't want it to be there. If this is purple, I need something here, not here. But it's okay. If this one jumps here, and the purple comes here, we've got a 3 there. This one slides up here to be that. Then we can trigger the pink to move this one here and then move it up. Okay, we've got it, but it's going to take a lot of work. So let's see what we can do. All right, well, I'm going to use this one. Oh, no, that's backwards. Never mind. No, it's not. I'm going to use this one to move this green here for now, temporarily. And then, because I've done that, I can use this for 5 points because I've got a blue with 2 cards diagonally. So I'm going to use this for 5 points of movement. So let's see how we do this. This goes 1, jumping over the orange, which is fine because these two are still adjacent to each other. And then 2, I can't do that because then the pink would be separate, but I can do this. 2, and then 3. And now we're close to the top of the screen, so I'm just going to slide this down. And now I'm going to activate the brain to move this one here. And that was what? 1, 2, 2, 3, activated, 4. Now we are going to lose our last point of movement, but that's okay. We've now completed the mission, so we draw another mission card. And we take another movement card. And now we need to get 2 diagonal rows with the orange here. Now the coil is always a pain for me to move because it jumps all over the place, so I try not to move it if I can help that. The problem is this one. If this moves 1, 2, I can get it here, which is good because then this can go here. So that's 3. This one is going to have to take 1, 2. So I can move 5 times, then we're good. It's a lot of movement though. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't think that there's any way that I can get these things to happen. I might have to use 4 and get the 5th movement from one of these special things. I can always draw an extra movement here. All right. If I could put something here, but there's no way to get something there easily without wasting a ton of time. Because I could get 4 from this card if I could get something down below it, but it's not really worth it for now. Yeah, no. Okay, so I'm going to start by playing this 3. And I'm not sure what order I want to do things in. I can't move this one until I've moved this one. So we'll go 1, 2, 3. And I need 2 more movement. Yeah, all right. I'm just going to use this card. It's probably going to hurt me, but we'll see what happens. 2 more movement means this card goes diagonally 1. Nope, it can't yet. This card goes diagonally 1, and then this card goes diagonally 1. And that is the end of that mission. Yes, so let's move this down a little bit. We will add to that card. And we will take 1 more. Now, because we've emptied this deck, all we need to do is we just take this discard pile and turn it over as is. Nothing gets shuffled. All right, so new mission. We need green at the bottom, which is sad because it's all the way up here at the top. But I do have the ability to swap some things. Because this clone adjacent is also next to the swap any 2 module. So I think I'm going to swap that green one somewhere. I'm not sure quite where yet. Because that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think that's going to happen. Well, we're going to get tight, but let's see what happens. I'm going to flip this one. And we're going to switch these 2. And then I need to get something here, here, and I need to put the green one there. But I think what I want to do eventually is get the purple one here, the pink one here, and then this teal one can cover up here where the pink one was. No. Wait a minute. That may not have been the right choice to do. Let me think about that swap. If I put something here instead of the gripper, hold on. If I would had that there, then everything needs to come up. That's not going to work. But I don't mind this where it is right now. I just need to figure out how to fill things in. If this comes here and this comes there, this one's the problem. I still have a shift to module 1 space. So if we get this one here and shifted, it comes down, then this comes here. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4 movement. 5, because I have to put this down here, which is exactly what we have here. And I don't think that we're going to be able to have anything come here that's not going to be a problem. All right, well, let's do this. I'm going to spend this card to move the purple card here. Because if I do that, I can now use this one for 4 movement. And to do that, I want to go 1, 2, use the shift to module 1 space, 3, well, that's not a 3, that's a shift, so that's 3, and that's 4. We need 1 more movement to move this down, which we can do, because I'll use this to draw 1 more card. And, well, that's going to give me enough movement to win, but that's sad. I don't have any other abilities to use, so all I can do is use this card. So I'm going to use this card to slide this down 1, which means I finished the 4th mission. This comes here. I get 1 more card. And I'm not going to win because I have 1 energy. There's no way I'm getting these cards lined up here, and I don't have another card to do it anyway. So I have 1 movement. There's no way I move from this to that in 1 movement. So unfortunately, we've lost the game. So meet me back up top and we'll discuss the game a little bit. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. It's a little bit of a shame that I didn't win the game, but it was still a whole lot of fun, and I hope you saw the fun in the game come out. I'm really enjoying this game, and there's a reason that I brought this sort of preview video out today. It's because I really wanted to share this interesting and cool prototype that I found online. I'm a fan of both of these designers based on other things that I've seen them do before. If you've watched my video for Skulls of Sedlec, you'll know how much I enjoyed that game. And if you didn't watch it yet, check that button up above. Go check it out, because Skulls of Sedlec is also a really great game from Dustin Dobson. But we're not talking about Skulls of Sedlec right now. I want to focus on this game, R.O.V.E. I really enjoy this game because it does something really unique with space, with a spatial puzzle. And a lot of my reviews recently have been on these sort of spatial puzzle type games, and I keep finding myself coming back to these. And this one is really cool, how you have to use points to activate the movement of these modules, and they can't move away from each other. They have to always remain adjacent to each other. And just this idea of how do we move these modules around to match these conditions, not just to trigger the mission, but also to trigger the extra movement points on the movement cards. And it's just a really unique thinking process. And they've all got a specific way they move that's different from the others. And they also all have that one-time use ability that you can trigger that changes movement in another different way. And this is really cool puzzle of when do I move them normally? When do I trigger these extra abilities to sort of jump them around the board? Sometimes it's a good idea to focus on moving one thing to fix the puzzle, but sometimes you want to keep that one thing in place, and instead of trying to move that somewhere else, keep it where it is and move everything else around that one piece. And just the idea of which module should I move Should I move the one that needs to be in a different place, or should I keep that one and assume that that's the place it's already in and fix the other places around it? It's just a really cool, interesting puzzle to me. And the understanding that if I can get them in the right places midway to activate more movement points, it's great. But do I sacrifice movement points to create that shape, to get those new movement points? All of these thoughts, all of these things make me keep wanting to come back and trying this game again. And sometimes I have won very easily, and sometimes, like you saw this time, I don't even make it more than halfway through the game. But every time it's a fun experience because it's this manipulation of the puzzle that I enjoy. And I don't really care if I win or lose necessarily. And on top of that, it's beautiful. I mean, this is still just a prototype, so it may be even a little bit better when it does finally get finished. But from what I see, I really like the graphic design of this game as well. The movement cards are very easy to see, the point values, the shapes make sense. The modules are all uniquely colored so that it's easy for me to figure out which one's going where. If you look carefully at the modules, the abilities are printed right on them, but the way that they move is only printed on them in symbol. But if you see, there's pointed arrows, which means they can move as far as they want to in a certain direction. There's the circle arrows, which means they move one space in a certain direction. There's the flat arrow, which means it's got to jump over something in that direction. There's the square sort of arrow that means it's pushing an object when it moves. And it's just interesting to see the variability and the differences in all the different modules. And it seems very ripe for expansions. They could throw in different modules with different abilities or different movement types. They could add different missions with different patterns. There's a whole lot here already, and there's a whole lot more that could be here as well. And talking more about the art and the design, the mission cards are really cool because as you're completing missions and overlaying the new cards on top of the previous card, you're building sort of this story of your rover as it's traveling across this planet and all of the different things that it's doing. So not only are you telling, or not only are you playing an interesting game, but you're telling a fun little story. So win or lose, you've got something that comes out at the end that tells of your journey through the game, and I think that's cool. I mean, that's all I'm going to really say about this. There's not much more I can say. This is a prototype. I don't want to go into a full review. If there's anything negative at all about the game, there is some randomness based on the way that the cards come up. You know, you may have a mission goal that you have to move everything, or you may end up with a mission goal that you only have to move one card, one space to satisfy. So there are some problems there, but it's not a problem because the puzzle is still there, and it's still a challenging, engaging, and interesting puzzle. And I really recommend that if you think you like this kind of game, if you have any interest at all in spatial puzzles, try this game. I've provided a link down below with a link to the print and play prototype. Print them out. It doesn't need to be beautifully done. Print it out on some paper, cut it up, staple them together, or stick them in some sleeves, and you've got the game. Try it out. It's a whole lot of fun. You can't go wrong with a free prototype. So please check the link below, try out the game, like and subscribe to this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks.